Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen, and this is Medicine Walk. And for those of you listening on Blog Talk Radio, it is Healing House Radio. So today, I wanted to talk about something that's come up, and when things start coming up kind of in groups, I start thinking that maybe I need to talk about it because this is something that it's really prevalent among people who are very empathic, people who care, people who want other people to feel better. And there's light and shadow in everything. And the shadow side of that gesture of caring is that sometimes it can become it, I don't want to come across that it's bad to want to help somebody feel better. The problem is that sometimes it goes into that place of, oh well, I know what you've got, so you need to do this, and it's it can be really tricky because when somebody has a chronic illness or something that they're dealing with that is, just something that is under medical care, something that they've had for quite a while, there's a tendency sometimes to want that person to feel better so much that people start, for lack of a better term, practicing medicine without a license. And we're going to come back to that in a minute. But the idea that, if somebody has had something similar, and they'll go, oh, well, what you need to do is you need to get echinacea in your system, or you need to do this, or you need to do that. I know about that. It's like, well, unless you've got a medical degree or really significant training, going through something, even if you've gone through it yourself, it's anecdotal, what's called anecdotal evidence. And in research, anecdotal evidence is basically the stories that people tell. And while that can carry a certain weight, it is not considered science. And the idea that because you went through something, or one person went through something, and something worked for them, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for everyone. And it also doesn't mean that it should go to everyone. And, for those of you who know me, know that, I call myself Dr. Ayleen because I'm an actual doctor. I'm a chiropractor. And yes, we're doctors too. And the idea that sometimes I'll have somebody, say it's like, oh, well, my friend had this, so I told them to do this. And I'm like, why? Oh, well, I mean, I went through it, so it should be fine for them. And I have to explain to them that not everything works for everybody. And sometimes there may be something going on with someone that is, that is a little bit trickier. It's not just a matter of, taking a particular supplement or getting rest or reducing your stress or whatever. And while those can be strong, influences, it may be that what this person is going through is not exactly what you think it is. And often it's very difficult to really figure out what's going on with someone. Now, I know that there are those who are, shall we say, distrustful of Western medicine, and oh, they're just pushing pills and they're just doing this. I mean, I am an energetic healer as well as a chiropractor. I think East and West can meet very nicely. I think that there's more than one way to deal with a problem, and sometimes good old Western medicine is the way to go. And if you're someone who doesn't believe that, well, I wish you luck. And I've had a lot of people who I've worked with who ended up making themselves a lot worse because they did not pay attention to what their body really needed. And that's the important thing, is that we have to be able to figure out what it is that the body needs. And in order to figure that out, there's a lot of testing that needs to be done. and there's a lot of analysis that needs to be done. And be, it's not something that somebody can come up on Facebook. I mean, oh my God, I go on Facebook and I see people diagnosing other people, and just really, it's like, oh, well, what you need is this, and then people's like, oh, well, I need to do this, and I'm like, no, I'll private message them and say, no, don't, please, check with your doctor before you do anything. And one of the things is, as we mentioned earlier about practicing medicine without a license, understand that you're not supposed to do that. Understand that people who do that, people who, and this is practicing medicine without a license, it is diagnosing a condition, prescribing or recommending an action for that condition without the benefit of the training required to attain a medical license. So if you're telling somebody, that, oh, well, that feeling of heartburn is this, and so you need to take this particular supplement, you've just practiced medicine without a license, and if things go bad, you can be sued. I mean, I don't want to put a downer on things. I usually try to keep things up and light, but this is like, this is where the rubber meets the road, is that not only is that person's health being placed at risk, but you are placing yourself at risk too. So, for those who are doing that, please stop. It's important to support people who are going through something, and if you went through something similar, you can say, hey, I went through something similar, I tried this and it worked for me. And even that can be difficult, because now we're going to go to the flip side. If someone has a condition and they've been working with it, it can really be hurtful. I mean, not just irritating, but it can actually be hurtful to have somebody come up to you and say, oh, well, what you need to do is this, as if, okay, as if that person hadn't tried it. And I've talked with people who have gotten really angry and felt very hurt by the fact that, it's like, oh, well, you have, let's say if you have fibromyalgia, it's like, well, all you need to do is exercise. You got stress, oh, well, all you need to do is relax. Can't sleep, try to get some rest, do exercises. Just relax. Either that or, well, if you're feeling stressed, you need to be grateful. Practice gratitude. And while I'm not saying any of those things are wrong, cases can be a lot more complex. And what's going on with someone. Depression is clinical, it's biochemical. And there is no one really easy answer for it. And, for some people, medications work very well. For other people, they don't. But the thing is that when you're a doctor, you are licensed to be able to make that determination. And I remember once on Facebook there was a woman who was, described a fairly alarming set of symptoms. And, just reading it, my first thought was, you need to get into an emergency room. And she just put it in and said, so, what do you guys think? And I found that horrifying. And people are throwing out all kinds of other things, and it's like, no. And in that case, I did not private message. I just put it into the stream. And it's like, you need to go and see a doctor. You need to talk to somebody. You need to get to an emergency room. You need care now. And you do not need to be getting medical advice from Facebook. It's not okay. And yeah, it really is, very scary to me when people decide that, they want to take that advice. And It's well-meaning, but that doesn't mean that it's good for you. So please, and if you know somebody who's going through something, the best way, I know you want to support them. The best way that you can support them is by listening, by being present when they want to talk. You don't need to talk. They need to talk. And if you're the one going through it, insist that what you need is, maybe you just want somebody who will be able to go and pick up groceries for you during times when you're not able to. Maybe you need somebody to come and sit and watch a funny movie with you and laugh with you. Maybe you need to have somebody hug you while you cry. Maybe you need to have, someone who will, just kind of take care of you a little bit while you're resting. Let people know what it is that you need. And let them know what you don't need. Because that is really crucial. In fact, recently a woman was on Twitter and she has, most of her discussion is dealing around an illness that she's dealing with. And she actually had to say, do not diagnose me. I do not want that. I know you mean well. I know you want to help. But please, just pray for me and be supportive for me. And that was just so powerful to me that somebody would actually, first off, that somebody would need to say that. And I know, yes, she did. But the fact that she had the courage to say, hey, no, I don't want to hear about what you went through. I am working with me. I don't want to hear about what you think I need to do. And that was very cool. I thought that was a wonderful example of stepping up into your own power and being empowered enough to tell very well-meaning friends and loved ones who are all full of advice, or maybe it was their cousin's friends, mechanic's brother-in-law, did really great with this, and so obviously it'll work for you. It doesn't always work that way. And when people have been dealing with something for a long time, they know their condition. They know about it. They've worked with it. They've been in contact with professionals over it. They're managing it. And it is hurtful to have somebody just walk up and say, it's like, well, as if all of that doesn't matter. It's like, well, I've got the answer, and you need to do this. And first off, there are no magic beans or spells or whatever to deal with a complex medical condition. And it is important to be able to work something from the right angle, which is, through working with exactly what the symptoms are. Okay, as an example, let's say someone complained about a sharp pain under their left shoulder blade. And it could be a pulled muscle. It could be a displaced rib. It could be a problem with their gallbladder. Or it could be a sign of a malignancy. Now, I know the questions to ask to figure out which one of those it is. And even then, I would not even remotely do it without a lot of other tests to help support what it is I'm figuring out. For people to just say, oh, well, if you've got this, then it's got to be that. No. I'm a doctor and I don't do that. It's like, okay, here's my possibilities. What are my top 3 possibilities that this could be? And that's for every patient I deal with. And yeah, I have been wrong. But it wasn't for lack of looking at the situation. And I learned very quickly to, pay attention to those things. I know that it's hard to watch someone you love in pain. I know that it is, you just want them to be better and you want them to be better quickly. And also, sometimes conditions don't clear up quickly. It takes time. It takes time for the body to heal. It takes time for treatments to kick in. And it's okay. It's better to give that time. But it's not about magic. It's not about, I mean, energy work. I do energy work. I do Reiki. I do other energetic modalities. I also do the chiropractic. I also, do massage. There's a lot of different ways to deal with the body. And yet, if energetic healing, is something that you incorporate in, now it's fantastic. It can help a healing process. It can help allow the body to go in a place where it can start to heal itself again. But it's not magic. It's not something that you can just say, okay, boom, you're going to be fine. The body is a tremendously sacred, special, and complex mechanism. It is, it works on such subtle levels, and something goes a little wrong and it can create a chain of events. You could have a pain in the bottom of your foot, but that doesn't mean that's where that pain started. That pain could have started somewhere else. And if you just focus on what is hurting or focus on that, then there's a tendency to miss other things. And that's where training comes in. Now, like I said, I don't want anybody to be afraid to say, hey, I went through something like that, this is what worked for me. First off, ask the person if they want to hear about whatever it is that you think that you know, or that you believe that you know, or that your experience has said. Because sometimes people just, they don't want to focus on what it is that's happening, that they're taking care of it, and it's hard to not be polite. There's that desire to be polite. And frankly, when I've seen some people, kind of go at somebody, well, no, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it was, when I look at it, it's like, wow, this is probably the world's most subtle form of bullying. You cannot bully someone into listening to your opinion about what is good for them. And, don't let yourself be bullied. Don't let yourself be pushed into trying something that, doesn't resonate with you. I mean, to me, gut instinct is really good. And if someone suggests that you do something, and I mean just right out of the gate, it's like, oh, no, I don't think so. This does not really resonate with me. If it doesn't resonate with you while they're talking about it, don't do it. Because that is your body reacting to, nope, we're having none of that. So it's important, especially if you're dealing with a health problem, especially if you're dealing with something that you've been dealing with for a long time, a chronic condition. I mean, usually the first thing that will trigger my alarms is if somebody says, oh, well, everybody gets healed from this, everybody gets cured. No, nothing works on absolutely everyone in the same way. And I wouldn't say that it's not a valuable tool or a valuable modality or a valuable supplement or whatever it is. I'm just saying that be very careful. Plus, you have no idea how a certain supplement may react to a medication you're taking. And, I mean, when they found out that blood pressure medicine was dropping potassium and that people could not eat any grapefruit, and because I remember when my dad first started going on a medication, and he ate a grapefruit and he got very sick. And well, it turned out that the medication would trigger a very high sensitivity and reacted badly to grapefruit. So, a lot of that's why it's called medical practice, because it is a practice. But the thing is, at this point, it's one of the best things that we have. And balancing East and West. It doesn't mean that you have to just go Western, and it doesn't mean that you just go Eastern. It means that you find a balance point, and you talk with your doctors and talk with your practitioners and say, okay, you guys need to be my team. And as my team, I would like to try this, this, and this. And how will that work with the team? What are the pros and cons of it? And for those of you, who are dealing with that, first off, I wish you the best. I really do. I'm sorry you're going through that. And make sure that if somebody comes up and tries to push something on you that either, doesn't resonate with you, or maybe it already doesn't work, or, whatever. Do not allow yourself to be pushed into something, and even if it's promising the moon and the stars and beyond, be careful. Be real careful. Trust your gut, because this is your health. And I know that there may be people who respond badly. I've never gotten a dislike on a video. I may get one on this one, and I'm willing to take that one. I'm willing to go with that, because this is really important. It's important to me. As a doctor, it's important to me. You only have one body, and in order to take care of it the best you can, it means that you need to be able to go to the ones who know about what it is that you're doing. A trained nutritionist, not someone who took a seminar at for a particular supplement. I mean a gone to school and graduated, diploma on the wall nutritionist. You can see an herbalist, a trained herbalist. A lot of people want to go indigenous. Be very careful. Make sure that you know about the person who is working with that. So the main thing is discernment, and be very sure about what it is you're doing. If somebody is suggesting a supplement and you're on a medication, find out. I mean, you can go to your doctor. You can look it up on Google or whatever, but do your research. It's your body, and you need to know as much about it as you can. You already know about it, but find out more. Find out, okay, has there ever been a bad reaction to this? And I don't do supplements in my practice, and I know a lot of chiropractors who do, and they do very well with it. For me, it just doesn't work. It doesn't resonate with me. And I know there's some excellent supplements out there. So do your homework. Research. I mean, it's okay to talk to people who have been on a particular supplement and find out what their reactions were. Just don't jump into something without having some evidence to support it, without having some, a little bit of researching to go with it. It's not my desire to offend anyone. And like I said, I cover the spectrum from east, west, north, and south. I've worked with a lot of different healing modalities and a lot of different healing traditions, ranging from Western to indigenous, like in the Amazon and in Africa and in all of that. So the idea, if there's anybody who supports, natural healing, indigenous healing, and all of that, it's me. And make sure you know what it is that your body needs. Make sure you know what it is you're dealing with. Some symptoms can mask other things. So be very clear on, you go and get diagnosed, and let's say you don't want to go Western medicine at that point, well, fine. Then having an idea as to what's going on. because you don't want to be triggered by something accidentally. So, lecture over. And if it came across that way, I'm sorry. It's just that this has come up a lot lately, and I really felt like I needed to express about that. Oh, mental health. That is probably one of the areas that it is the most important to get trained assistance with. It's not to be played around with. Depression isn't just, well, you need to turn that frown upside down. No. Those who are dealing with clinical depression are dealing with something that is biochemical. If you're dealing with things like bipolar disorder, that is biochemical. And, people can mean well and just say things like, well, you need more sleep, or, well, you need to do this, or, well, a little kind of cookie cutter, sayings, and, it just kind of bothers me. Anyway, if you're dealing with a mental health issue, please contact a professional, contact a counselor, contact a therapist, contact somebody who can give you the information from a clinical point of view, because that is really, really important. That sets the stage for your whole body, is how your mind is working. And if you're feeling things and you really feel like you're not being listened to, then ask somebody else. Find somebody else who will listen to you, because that is crucial. That is important. So please, please, take care of yourselves. And also, please, 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 don't be so quick to think that you've got all the answers in diagnosing someone. It's really hard. It's not as easy as it looks. And I'm saying that as a doctor. I wouldn't diagnose someone over Facebook. Please, kind of support. Support as a friend. Support as a caregiver. There's lots of ways you can help. You don't have to feel helpless. There's lots of ways you can help. But leave the doctoring to the doctors, okay? So, thank you for joining me, and I hope everyone is getting whatever care they really need. And my prayers go out to each and every one of you. So, thank you for joining me. And if you found value in this, if there's someone who you figure needs to hear it, then you can share this video. You can also like, you can comment, and yes, I'm prepared to accept the comments. And you can also subscribe to the channel. You can also reach me on Twitter and on Facebook in the group Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen. So, thank you for joining me. And I wish you health. I wish you love. And as always, I wish you balance. And I wish you blessings. From my heart to yours. Love you. Bye.